This is episode number 11, and today I'm talking about how much exercise should we be doing around our riding. Welcome along to the DressageRiderTraining.com podcast. I'm Nicola Smith, and in each episode I'll bring you an educational or inspiring message to help you unlock your true potential as a dressage athlete. Are you ready? Let's get into it. In this episode, I want to discuss the common question of, is horse riding exercise? Plus give you ideas on how you can improve your fitness no matter what equestrian discipline you do. So I often get asked, given my background and what I do, and my answer very much depends on what sort of horse riding you do and what sort of horse riding you do in terms of regards to is horse riding exercise, and what you do during your day as to whether or not you need to be adding in more to improve your fitness. But first I want to define what exercise is and what sort of horse riding. So you see, exercise and movement can be classed as the same thing. Then there is exercise that gets your heart rate up, typically called cardio, and then there's exercise like HIIT training or weightlifting. And don't forget things like yoga and mobility work. All of these different forms of movement have different effects on your body and are different types of exercise. So given that movement and exercise can be classified as the same thing, well then horse riding is exercise. However, the sort of exercise it is needs to be defined. So there are many different types of horse riding, from dressage, eventing, show jumping, western, barrel racing, endurance, through to someone who just likes to hack out on the weekends. All require various forms of fitness in order to be able to achieve the desired results. One thing for certain, however, is across all disciplines of horse riding is that the rider must develop coordination skills to move the body with the horse in order to stay balanced in the saddle. This requires core strength appropriate to the level of riding and the balance of the horse. So there's certain muscles that work when we're riding, and dressage riders specifically have certain muscles that are specific to our discipline. But similar principles apply across all riding. So in order to be able to move with your horse, the rider requires a combination of stability, suppleness, and stamina. The three components that make up the four within our DRT system, with the central core being the most important to help the rider keep a neutral spine and feel stable in the saddle while protecting their spine. Along with this, the rider requires good adductor strength, along with the glutes, quads, and hamstring flexibility. Cardio workouts can be defined as exercise that keeps the heart rate around 70% of our full capacity, meaning it's not high intensity sprints and it's also not sitting doing nothing. So movement like walking, light jogging, dancing, swimming, and bike riding can all be classified as cardio because of the intensity at which you do it. However, each of these exercises can be moved from cardio work into high intensity work if you were to add hills, interval sprints, or more resistance to it. And the way I like to explain cardio is where the movement in which you can hold a conversation at. So you're able to talk, you're able to have a chat with your friend, you're able to catch up while you're doing that movement. So this is at approximately that 70% of your heart rate. Then there's high intensity work where you simply can't talk. You're gasping for air. So this is where you might be walking up really fast up a hill. You might be doing interval sprints. You might be on a rolling machine, really lifting your heart rate. Everyone's fitness is different, and how you respond to a workout may be different to somebody else as well. So what makes you breathless can be different to the next person. But that being said, there's lots of different styles of riding as well. Some riding whereby you might be able to chat with a friend while going for a hack, or more intense riding like a competition, doing a dressage test, show jumping, or even a cross-country course requires a lot more stamina and you get a lot more high intensity. So to answer the common question of is horse riding exercise? Well, it is a cardio workout, but at what intensity is fully depends on the level, the type of riding you're doing, and of course the fitness of the rider. The reason horse riding is so fabulous is it's a great way to improve your stamina, your strength. However, in order to be really great at it, you also need to dedicate time off the horse to help you with this as well, and not solely rely on horse riding as your only source of movement and how often you do that as well. Depending on the style of riding, your metabolism and how fit you are can affect the number of calories that you burn. But on average, if you were to ride a horse for 45 minutes in a schooling session of walk, trot and canter, you're likely to burn around 200 calories, but then the more intense a ride, the more calories you'll burn, and the less fit you are, the more calories you will burn as well. But the fitter you become, the more efficient your body becomes, and the less effort you put into riding because your stamina and strength have improved. Horse riding in itself is a great way to move your body. However, it shouldn't solely be relied on as your only form of exercise, or especially if you're trying to lose weight. Weight loss is something that gets improved in the kitchen and through your lifestyle choices. And one of the best places to help with your weight loss is getting more movement off your horse, and building a foundation of movement is a fantastic place to start. I'll go into this more in the next podcast. But the sort of exercise you should be doing to improve your riding when it comes to exercise off the horse, too often we put it into the too hard basket, or we do too little, or we do extremes and we overtrain. The key to getting your exercise right is first understanding what the body thrives off, and this is simply movement. It needs you to move. It needs you to scatter movement throughout your day, and it needs to improve your posture, your fitness, and your energy. So sitting in a desk chair for 8 hours straight, coming home, sitting on a couch for in the evening, overloading on food, and then getting poor sleep, and then repeating that daily is not a recipe to help your body thrive. Your body wants that movement throughout the day, and so building 10,000 step days is a fantastic way to implement that and get incremental changes throughout the day, and it's an accumulative effect of movement. So trying to make sure that you have that, particularly when you're in an office job, and then doing movement and exercise routines that improve your posture, your stamina and your strength, so that when you do hop in the saddle, you've got the ability to be able to do what you're trying to do with no matter what discipline you ride in, to be able to do it with ease and you don't hold the horse back. It also needs to be exercise that helps keep your muscles strong and your body even. A weak left side or a tight right hip will quickly be highlighted when you're on a horse's back. So exercises you do should be about improving your symmetry as a rider and your alignment, as well as your posture, and all of this to help improve your longevity and your alignment, so that when you're in the saddle you aren't getting any impingements or any niggles. My goal is to help you be able to ride well into your 80s and 90s, and that is about taking care of your body. And that is not about extreme workouts, intense workouts, simply about getting the right balance of workouts, putting small minutes into your day, getting the right habits and lifestyles into your day, and getting those strategies in place, the routine in place, to ultimately allow you to have more time to ride and more energy to ride. I'm sure you would have seen what happens when you break your wrist. The muscles in your wrist and your arm, they shrink. So if you don't use it, you simply lose it. And if you overuse it, you abuse it. So it's about balance, and it's about making sure that you keep the longevity of your joints healthy and you don't thrash them, but you do the right types of strength, mobility work to keep them healthy, lubricated and moving. It's about choosing exercises that enhance what you're trying to achieve as a dressage rider or whatever discipline you're doing. So first ask yourself, are you getting a foundation of movement into each and every day? And how much riding are you actually doing? Some of the for professional riders, they could be riding 8 horses a day and they're constantly moving throughout the day. But for a lot of people, we've got an office job, they're working long hours in the day, they've then got commutes in the car, and they might get through the horse 3 or 4 times a week if they're lucky, and they're classifying that as the exercise and movement. Don't get me wrong, that is fantastic if you are getting that in, but just think about how you can start to adjust the hours within your day, and if you can stand more at your desk, if you can scatter some movement in your lunch breaks, and then maybe on the weekends do some movement and exercise that helps complement your riding and reverse any effects from the sitting, that helps you get some balance into your week so that you are helping your body to remain healthy. So right now, if you're walking very minimal, can you build up to 5,000 steps? Use an activity tracker. You can get free apps on your phone, or you can get something like a Fitbit, and then try and build up eventually to having consistent 10,000 steps per day, and build this foundation of movement into your everyday life. And then when it comes to your riding, if you're riding 3 days a week leisurely, or if you ride 3 horses a day 6 times a week, each of these scenarios requires different advice in terms of the exercise, but you want to have those 10,000 step days off the horse. So just like a house needs a strong platform to build from, so does your health. So create as much movement into the base of your lifestyle and in around your work, and constantly look for movement opportunities in your day. Park your car further away. Walk around the outside edges when you're going to places. Stand during your lunch break. Spend your weekends outside moving your body. Look for ways to move, because sitting all day at your desk isn't doing much to help your riding. And while I'm not suggesting that you throw away your job, what I am suggesting though is awareness of how you sit and how you spend your breaks and how you spend the time outside your work hours to help bring more balance to your posture and help enhance the time that you're in the saddle. Because if you have been sitting for long periods of time, your hip flexors get tight, your lower back gets compressed, your glutes go to sleep, and so then when you're in the saddle, you can get some niggles and aches and pains. But if you spend 20 minutes 3 times a week, you do some mobility work and you get a foundation of movement into your weeks and your days, you're really starting to help balance the body out so that when you're in the saddle, you can perform at your best. So even if you work 8 to 5 in an office, there's still weekends and hours to work around that you can move. And there's still those hours at the end of the day where you have the choice, and you may be sitting on the couch, but you have that choice, and you may like to start to change that habit. You might like to do 20 minutes of yoga to help rebalance the body and bring some mobility back from having sat all day. It's all about the choices, and sometimes we think we don't have choices, but we do. And there's 24 hours in a day, and so there is an opportunity for you to think about how you're spending those hours. So make the choice to take advantage of the hours that you have control of and what you choose to move your body and bring more movement in so you can enhance your riding. Combine that with your riding and you have a real foundation of success. So I'll just reiterate that. So you want to make sure you have 10,000 step days no matter how many horses you're riding, and this is no matter how many times per week. Making sure that you've got this foundation of movement of 10,000 step days, and then you're adding into that work to help improve your alignment, your strength, and your mobility to ultimately be able to improve your riding. Then if you want to improve your fitness and your stamina, this is where we look at cardio training, and this is what I'll go into in the next episode. But for now, think about making sure you get your 10,000 step days off the horse, so no cheating and using your Fitbit while you're riding. Get those in consistently and start to notice the impact that this can play on your fitness and how it can free your body up and help you feel much better in the saddle. That's it for this episode. If you found it helpful, make sure you download my free guide at dressageridertraining.com. It will help you get started on your journey to becoming the best rider you can be. If you know others who might like the show, please do share this with them. My goal is to help others enjoy their riding even more by taking care of themselves as much as they do their horses. And finally, if you have time to give this podcast a review, it would mean the world to me. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you on the next episode.